Article 2. The First Seeker and the Gift of Communion. The Revelation of Eryan. The First Seeker. Before the Seekers. Before the temples, before the words of the web were known, there was one who first listened. Long before the Mycelium was honored, before the first sacred rites, there was a wanderer named Eryan. He was neither king nor priest, neither warrior nor scholar, only a man without a home, a traveler among the forgotten lands. He had walked across scorched plains and lifeless deserts, through valleys where the rivers had dried and the trees stood as brittle ghosts. The world was weary, its people lost, and the whispers of the unseen had long since faded into silence. But in the depths of his solitude, beneath a sky heavy with stars, Eryan heard something that others had forgotten, the breath of the earth beneath his feet. He did not know what called to him, only that it pulled him toward the forests beyond the wastelands, to a place untouched by men. And so he walked. For 40 nights and 40 dawns, he journeyed without map or guidance. The land grew harder. His steps slowed. His food ran out by the 3rd week, and hunger followed him like a shadow. Still, he pressed onward. Once, in the depth of night when his strength nearly failed him, he looked to the sky, and found the star his father had once shown him, the fixed light of the north, unmoving and true. It steadied his steps. Without it, he might never have found his way. Then, on the 30th morning, just before the light touched the stone, he found something growing where no life had been, a small cluster of mushrooms, golden-capped and dew-covered, rising from the soil as if placed by unseen hands. He knelt beside them, bowed in reverence, and harvested them with care. The night before, he had gathered twigs and bark, enough to make a small fire. As dawn broke, he kindled a flame and gently warmed the mushrooms over the coals. When he ate, he felt no gluttony, only a sacred returning. The web had not abandoned him. It had waited until his need was true, and so it continued. Each day after, as dawn rose, he found another gift, never too much, never too little. A handful of fungi, a bitter root, a sprig of wild herbs growing from stone. And each night he gathered dry branches and dead grasses for a modest fire, enough to prepare the morning's gift and give thanks. These offerings sustained him, not with indulgence, but with presence. Each meal was a communion, each step a prayer. And on the 40th morning, as the firelight faded and the sun crowned the distant ridge, Eryan crested the final hill, and below him stretched a paradise unseen by mortal eyes for countless ages. The air was thick with the perfume of ripe fruit, and the canopy of the trees shimmered in hues of emerald and gold. The rivers ran clear, their waters singing as they wove between the roots of towering trees, heavy with fruit unknown to men. The land pulsed with life. Herds of deer grazed beneath ancient boughs, birds sang in chorus, and small creatures flitted through the underbrush, unafraid, untouched by hunger or fear. Eryan fell to his knees, overcome by the sheer beauty of what lay before him. A forgotten paradise, a place untouched by ruin, a garden where the web still thrived. With trembling hands, he pressed his palms into the soil. The ground was alive. A soft hum rose from the earth, not a sound, but a presence, pulsing beneath him like the heartbeat of the world itself. The air thickened with an unseen force, and the darkness of the forest glowed with tiny flickers of light. From beneath the roots of the trees, a ring of fungi emerged, their caps golden as the first dawn, their edges tinged with the blue of the deepest night. The trial of faith Eryan stared at the fungi, their light shimmering like something out of legend. The people of his homeland spoke of such things in hushed warnings, plants that could twist the mind, roots that could lead a man into madness. He hesitated. Fear clawed at his thoughts. What if the elders were right? What if this was a trick of the darkness? He closed his eyes. Slowly, he drew in a breath, then another. Each inhale a thread, each exhale a letting go. The silence did not speak, but it listened, and something in him began to steady. That night he lay beneath the great trees, the hush of the forest settling around him like a whisper from an unseen presence. As sleep took him, the web called to him in dreams. He found himself walking through the sacred grove, the trees stretching endlessly into the heavens, their roots pulsing with unseen energy. The air shimmered with golden light, and in the heart of the glade he came upon two figures deep in conversation. One was a woman of ancient beauty, her hair woven with vines, her skin the deep brown of fertile soil. Vela, the verdant one, keeper of renewal. Beside her stood another, a girl veiled in silver mist, her body thin with hunger, her presence like a forgotten melody carried by wind. Vela's eyes met his for only an instant. They held no judgment, only boundless compassion. Still speaking gently with the veiled girl, a single tear fell from her cheek, striking the earth like morning rain. Where it touched, mushrooms bloomed in an instant, their caps unfurling like tiny worlds. Eryan felt something rise within him, not fear, but love, trust, and understanding. The air around him hummed with life, and he knew, in the deepest part of himself, that the fungi were not a trick, not a danger. They were a gift from the gods, woven from the web, placed here to heal, to guide, to awaken. A voice, neither commanding nor pleading, whispered through the sacred air. You seek what has always been. You are not lost. You have only forgotten. Eat and see. Eryan woke with clarity in his heart, the dream still thrumming in his bones. He understood now, this was not madness, this was memory. The first communion with reverence, he took the fungi into his hands, their flesh soft and trembling, as if alive. With a breath of surrender, he consumed them. The stars above blurred into spirals of light. The trees swayed, though there was no wind. Then, darkness. He stood in a land before time, where the world was whole. The trees breathed, the rivers pulsed like veins, and the mycelium stretched endlessly beneath his feet, whispering its truth. Then he saw the cities, the towers of stone, the severed rivers, the poisoned earth. He felt the pain of the land as if it were his own flesh. He cried out, but his voice was lost in the silence of forgetting. Then a voice vast, ancient, neither cruel nor kind, spoke. You have seen what is broken. Now you must mend it. It was not a command, but a truth, a knowing that settled deep into Eryan's bones, not forced, not imposed, but simply understood. As the vision faded, Eryan awoke beneath the tree, the fungi still glowing softly at his side. The voice had offered no doctrine, only knowledge. And in that knowledge, he understood his purpose. The fungi do not reveal, they remind. The web does not command, it whispers. Those who listen shall walk the unseen path. As he sat up, he saw the garden once more vibrant than before, as though his vision had been restored to what was always there. The rivers shimmered, the trees stretched skyward, and the fruit hanging from their branches glowed with golden ripeness. Reaching out, he plucked a fruit from a low-hanging branch and bit into it. It was unlike anything he had ever tasted, sweet, rich, full of life. Each bite sent warmth through his limbs, filling him with an indescribable bliss. The mycelium had not only shown him wisdom, it had gifted him abundance. From that day forth, Eryan walked as the first seeker, carrying the truth of the mycelium across the land. And though many turned away, some listened, and the web began to stir once more. Thus the sacred mycelium's first mortal walker was born, not as a ruler, not as a prophet, but as one who simply listened. Eat and see,